It may surprise you to learn that drones are flying across America. Not the impersonal killing machines that patrol the Badlands overseas, but drones nonetheless, used by the FBI, by university researchers, by amateur photographers, even by your nosy neighbors. Domestic drones are poised to become a multi-billion-dollar industry, revolutionizing everything from crop management down to the farm to possibly package delivery to your doorstep. The Federal Aviation Administration is trying to figure out the rules of the road for drones, but for the moment, they're barely regulated. Tonight, we offer a quick once-over of just what these gizmos can do. We begin in a park in Austin, Texas.
So I'll go ahead and hit record and I'll start flying this for you. Slowly tilt up my camera to reveal the city.
We're looking at the future.
And then I can spin around us here.
And whether we like it or not, the future is looking back at us.
And then come right in on us. There you go. And then it's just gonna hang out there till we're done with it.
Colin Gwynn is showing us his flying cameras, his own squadron of drones. These are definitely not your grandfather's model planes.
And then this shows me that I have 7 satellites in view.
They navigate by GPS signals. This one controlled through a very smart phone.
This is a Wi-Fi repeater that the phone only has to talk this far. And then this talks to that.
Sensors on board tell the drone exactly where it should be and how to get back home.
Now if I take it and I move it over here, I let go, where does it go? It knows where it's supposed to be. So it goes right back to where it's supposed to be.
Sophisticated as they are, any idiot can fly one.
Now just push up on this one. Up? Yep, push up. And let it just let it keep going. Just let it keep going.
And in the hands of someone who actually knows what they're doing, you can get a bird's eye view of things, literally.
So say I want to fly right through this hole in the tree, that little gap. So I'm going to bring it down and fly it right back through this hole, right at us.
Pilot.
Yeah. It takes a little practice to be able to, you know, stick them down through areas like that, but there you go.
Gwynn saw the potential of drones early on and became an entrepreneur, selling small drones for the consumer market.
We thought the people that would be buying them would be just your photographers and your videographers, right? But what's interesting is that people see this thing flying around and they go, man, I'm not really too sure what I'm going to take aerial photos or video of, but that thing's really cool, and I want one.
And the pictures they take are often breathtaking. Here, a drone hovers over Niagara Falls, looking straight down. Gadget guys and girls, as Gwynn calls them, have sent drones weaving their way through the leafy avenues of New York's Greenwich Village and through the Grand Canyons of Times Square. And at the other end of the country, they watch the endless summer unfold in Hawaii, the surfer dudes in paradise. Young gadgets for a young crowd. I noticed the average age in this business seems to be somewhere in your 20s, say, right?
Absolutely. It's definitely a very young business.
Increasingly, drones are being used for much more than fun and games. Environmental research, for example. They monitor marine wildlife off the Washington coast. And there are other uses.
Anything from a farmer that wants to take a photo every week of his crops to look for hot spots, to know where to not use too much pesticide or where they might need to add more water.
They help the Forest Service battle wildfires.
They can just monitor it. They can be 200 feet in the air looking at this fire. Where is it moving? There's a ton of environmental uses to fly around after an earthquake or after a flood and see what the damage is and you know, who needs help.
Indeed. After the 2011 tsunami in Japan damaged a nuclear reactor, drones flew in to measure radiation when it was still too dangerous for humans. And after last year's typhoon in the Philippines, they surveyed the devastation, flying lower than any helicopter or plane could do.
We have a saying that we build unmanned systems for the 4Ds. That's the dirty, dangerous, difficult, and dull missions.
Michael Toscano presides over the world's biggest trade show for drones. He heads the Association for Unmanned Vehicle Systems, which is what he'd prefer you call them. You don't like people calling them drones.
Well, drones is most people, when they hear the word drone, think of something that's military, something that's large, something that's weaponized, something that's hostile. And that's not what we're talking about.
I'll call them drones.
You can call them drones.
You know that?
To the first-time visitor, the drone show is part sci-fi, part video extravaganza, and part old-fashioned sales pitch, reflecting the steady movement of the technology from military to civilian use.
The manufacturing of these systems is a whole new industry. So these are new jobs that are being created.
The big defense contractors are here, but so are the gadget guys and the software developers who write the code for piloting or simply monitoring unmanned aircraft from the ground.
We actually are moving from a Tom Cruise Top Gun persona into the geeky Revenge of the Nerds persona, right?
We toured the floor with Missy Cummings, a former Navy fighter pilot, now a professor in charge of drone research at both MIT and Duke University. She's become an expert on teaching new drones new tricks. Just give me a sense of how big this industry is as we speak.
Most of the dramatic leaps in technology will now be happening in the commercial sphere. We will see small drones that deliver wedding cakes. We will see large drones that deliver your FedEx packages. We will see medium-sized drones that do air quality management.
There's something spooky about no windshield.
It is spooky, right?
This experimental medevac chopper can be programmed to fly itself if need be. An onboard pilot is optional.
This helicopter will take itself off, navigate itself, land itself, and then you will load that injured person in and it will fly off to back to the trauma center all by itself. This kind of helicopter in the future will be how first response missions are done all over the world.
So put your styrofoam gadget together.
Sure.
On the other end of the scale, it takes just a minute or so to assemble the skate, an almost lighter-than-air drone equipped with night vision. American troops in Afghanistan use it to seek out enemy forces. And weighs?
It weighs just about 2 pounds.
Not that I would say nothing.
Yeah.
The common denominator in the world of most drones is the camera. Small drones deliver perfect, high-definition pictures. And more sophisticated cameras are able to track vehicles and people from great distances. Looking around the hall, our crew had the sense once again that the future was looking back at them. The issue that really comes to mind is the issue of privacy. I mean, these machines are all peeping toms.
All sensors are peeping toms. And so anything that you have that's electronic is a peeping tom. I would say probably your greatest privacy invasion is your cell phone, if not your Facebook account. Yes, there potentially are flying cameras everywhere, except that in many cities there are cameras everywhere.
Cummings and others argue that, like it or not, we live in a surveillance society, and that using a drone for pictures is no different than using high-powered binoculars or telephoto lenses. Others aren't so sure.
The privacy concerns are very, very major.
Dianne Feinstein is chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, which oversees spying at home and abroad. She's a defender of the NSA's controversial telephone tracking, but is troubled by the proliferation of drones over America.
This is a whole new world now, and it has many complications. And the question is, how does it all get sorted out? What is an appropriate law enforcement use for a drone? When do you have to have a warrant? When don't you have to have a warrant? What's the appropriate governmental use for a drone?
A recent government report says the FBI has been using small drones in very limited circumstances for the last 7 years to track suspects and photograph crime scenes. Customs and Border Protection, which operates unarmed predator drones along the border, has flown them on behalf of other law enforcement agencies hundreds of times in recent years.
When is a drone picture a benefit to society? When does it become stalking? When does it invade privacy? How close to a home can a drone go?
For Feinstein, it's not a hypothetical question.
I'm in my home and there's a demonstration out front and I go to peek out the window and there's a drone facing me. Well, whoever was running it turned it around quickly and it crashed.
The demonstrators who were protesting government surveillance say it wasn't a drone, just a toy helicopter. But as questions about their use loom larger, camera drones are getting smaller. There's one that looks like a hummingbird, another that flaps its wings like a dragonfly. Once this genie's out of the bottle, how do you stop this?
Well, it's going to have to come through regulation. Perhaps regulation of size and type for private use. Secondly, some certification of the person that's going to operate it. And then some specific regulation on the kinds of uses it can be put to.
Feinstein Council is going slow on drone development. Drone advocates think the process is moving too slowly, especially since the machines are already out there in the marketplace.
The governments don't just get to have drones now. Your everyday person can go buy a drone on the internet.
Well, I find that scary, quite honestly.
A little scary, you know, and I'm always worried that my students are trying to fly a drone over to my office window and peek in on me and see what I'm doing. But I'm willing to accept the possible negative consequences of the technology because it's revolutionizing science and technology in a way that, particularly in the aerospace industry, we have not seen in 25 years.
So when will a drone be at your front door? It makes for great fun on YouTube videos, as in this spoof from Netflix. But the idea of Amazon or FedEx or indeed Domino's doing home deliveries in the next couple of years is just pizza pie in the sky. There are too many issues of privacy, safety, and liability to work out. In the meantime, time and technology wait for no one. What do you see in reality is the future of these devices?
I wouldn't be surprised if, 1 in 5 people own some kind of small flying camera that they can use to take aerial photos and videos with. That's a lot of people.
And as with any technology, new uses tend to pop up that nobody could foresee. On our Sunday in the park with drones, we discovered that man never needs to exercise the dog again. Just stick the drones on it.